அடுத்தபடியாக we have Valluvan Thillairajah from Australia. ரொம்ப நைட் ஆயிடுச்சு ஆஸ்திரேலியால. சாரி முதல்ல வல்லுவனுக்கு because we are making you awake tonight. Thank you so much for your time today, Valluvan. He is a medical student and he is a director of Vanni group, Vanni Hope. And என்ன ஒரு ஆச்சரியனா, he is in Australia, but Vanni Hope is in Sri Lanka, a charity group in Sri Lanka. அதுக்கு he is supporting from as a director from Australia. அது எப்படி பாசிபிளா உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் பேலன்ஸ் பண்ண முடியுதா? யூஆர் a medical student அப்படின்னு கேட்கும்போது முடியும்னு நினைச்சா முடியும். இது நான் out of my own interest, my parents suggested. சின்ன வயசுல இருந்து I was molded in a way to help people, to engage myself in communities. அப்படின்றதும் சொல்லும் போது it was such an inspiring story. So let us ask more from Valluvan itself. சொல்லுங்க வல்லுவன், எப்படி இருக்கீங்க? How is everything?
நான் நல்லா இருக்கேன். நீங்க?
நல்லா இருக்கேன். Yes, and Valluvan, before we start, do you want to share or do you want me to share on your behalf?
No, I can share. I'm just gonna
Perfect.
can't share when Raj is sharing.
Yeah, 1 second.
In the meantime, yeah, உங்களை பத்தி கொஞ்சம் சொல்லுங்களேன் நம்மளோட ஆடியன்ஸ்க்காக தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாமே.
You can share now. Yeah, go on.
Share. Cool, excellent. Yes, so hello everyone. My name is Valluvan Thillairajah. I'm from Australia, if you haven't figured out from the accent. And thank you for having me here at the International Tamil Youth Conference. It's a fantastic opportunity to meet all of you from different parts of the globe. For some of you, it's the morning, afternoon. For me, it's almost midnight. But no, thank you again for having me. So a little bit about, oh, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, oh, hold on. Is it working?
Oh, you stopped it now. We could see that before.
Oh, hang on, let me have a look. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Excellent. Sorry. Yep. So I'm from Australia. A little bit about Australia. So look, the Australian Tamil community has grown tremendously, particularly following the 1980s. You know, today we have around 150,000 Tamils calling Australia home, and you know our presence is felt across the nation, across all different sectors, from education and healthcare to business and arts. You know, we are a thriving part of the Australia's multicultural fabric, you know, contributing not only to the economy, but also to the social and cultural landscape. You know, Australia being, you know, a very multicultural society with all different people coming in after it was colonized. So my story, like that of many Tamil Australians and those, you know, outside of India and Sri Lanka, begins with my parents' migration journey. You know, they came to Australia in search of a better future, leaving behind Sri Lanka, which is where we're from, a land rich in culture but troubled by conflict at the time. And growing up here, I was very fortunate to have a family that instilled that deep respect for our Tamil culture and traditions. And despite being a very multicultural society, my parents ensured that we remained connected to our roots by actively participating in cultural events and community gatherings. And these experiences, you know, were just not about, you know, learning a language or attending festivals, but were about understanding who we are, you know, where we're from, and the values that define us as a community. And these strong foundations inspired me to engage in community activities and see my role not only as a participant, but also as someone who could contribute to the well-being and development of a Tamil society in Australia. Now, for us, especially in Australia, our cultural institutions play a central role in preserving our heritage and nurturing the next generation. Now, you know, take Tamil schools, for example. In Australia, we have over 30 of them in different parts from the East Coast to the West Coast, and ensuring that every Tamil not only learns a language, but the traditions that come with it. And especially for us, religious institutions like temples, mosques, Tamil churches all serve more than just a place of worship. You know, for instance, I'm originally from Sydney, so we have the Sydney Murugan Temple, and like Ajira was saying before, we're celebrating Navaratri at the moment, so everyone's gathering there, and it's, you know, not just a spiritual center, but also a cultural hub where we can celebrate, connect, and, you know, strengthen those bonds that we've built with one another. Then you got similarly the Tamil churches. I'm part of the Sydney Tamil Christian Fellowship as well, and we gather together and we talk and have choir practice, rehearsals. So there's a big Tamil network in Australia, and especially in the cities. Now, moving on to the challenges that we face in Australia as Tamils, we often find ourselves balancing two distinct identities. As you can figure out, Australian culture and Australian and Tamil culture is very different, and the duality can sometimes be difficult to navigate. So how do we maintain our traditions while also integrating into society that may not always understand our customs? Well, the struggle can lead to a sense of isolation, especially for those who are newly arrived or even those born into diaspora that may feel disconnected from both worlds. Additionally, there's a gap in tailored career guidance for Tamil youth. Many of us pursuing education and careers like I'm pursuing medicine, but my parents didn't do that, where our parents have less experience navigating the Australian system. There's no understanding of our school system. It's not the A levels like Sri Lanka. It's quite different. And each state in Australia has a different education system for schools, so it's even more complicated. And this lack of structured mentorship can leave a lot of us lost and, uncertain of the right paths to follow. Conversely to what maybe the other countries have, like Canada, US, and UK, and India, Sri Lanka, we don't have that kind of sense that we all have to be doctors, all have to be engineers. It's very much fostered here in Australia that we can do whatever we want, and there'll be a pathway for anything. If you want to be an electrician, if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a nurse, everything is there and every opportunity is given because education is covered by the government. And these challenges underscore the importance of community support in helping us overcome these hurdles. Yet, for every challenge, there is an opportunity. And Tamil youth in Australia have access to some of the best educational and vocational training in the world. Like the university I go to, the University of Melbourne, is ranked, I think, 11th for medicine and 9th for law. So it's quite a good university. And, whether we aim to pursue careers in medicine and engineering, arts, business, the possibilities are endless. And and many of us are thriving in this field. Now, I'll put on my screen the ATPA, and they're a great example of a professional organisation in Australia. For those in Canada, you have the CTPA, so we've got our own version. So the ATPA provide mentorship and networking opportunities and career guidance for Tamil youth, helping us connect with established professionals across various fields. Actually, it was only a few weeks ago that I attended an event they hosted called the Art of Authenticity, where they got these Tamil people who are leaders in their fields, like business CEOs, top doctors, and chief engineers, to come speak about how they navigated their careers as Tamils in Australia while holding true to their authenticity and identity.
Sorry, you can
We've also,
continue.
no, that's all right. We've also got plenty of Tamil student associations. Like we've got, for example, the University of New South Wales, it's probably the biggest one in Sydney. They've got the Angelie Tamil Society, which hosts a lot of events and shows and where everyone can come together and meet other Tamil people. So that's been really good for a lot of us young people. And then beyond professional success, there's also a growing need for youth to take leadership roles within Tamil organizations. And for us, we have plenty of those. The Murugan Temple has plenty of opportunities for youth. Like I was part of the Tamil Refugee Council for a long time, I sat on the committee, I still do. And then, as we talked about before, Vanni Hope, which is a charity based in Sri Lanka, and I do it from here, but I also traveled to Sri Lanka in July. I went there and I attended to see some of our projects and our teams. And on Monday, we're opening a new office, so setting up for that in Jaffna, and a new website I'm building and launching in a few weeks. So it's those kind of roles that are really important for Tamil people in Australia. And like I said before, our institutions are the backbone of our cultural preservation. And it's vital that the next generation steps up to ensure their sustainability and growth. And by taking on these leadership roles, I think it's the same in Australia and anywhere else. I feel that Tamil youth can shape the future of our community, especially wherever you are. Now, my perspective quickly. Now, one of the most powerful ways I think the youth can succeed is through mentorship. Establishing strong programs within our community, like we do at the ATPA, can bridge that gap in career guidance and help our young people navigate the complexities of education and professional life wherever they are. And mentorship can provide that support and direction that many of us need and might not otherwise have access to. And like I said before, taking on leadership roles, the Tamil Institute for Leadership Excellence probably preaches that too. Whether it's in cultural, religious, or professional settings, further strengthens our place in the community. And I said as the role as Director of Vanni Hope, I'm only 20 years old, but the role has given me so many opportunities to learn so much. Like I'm a medical student, I've never done a website development, but now I'm building a new website, learning how to code. So it's been a great opportunity. And being involved in a community not only helped me grow as a leader, but also helped me to make a positive impact on those around me. So encouraging more Tamil youth to take a leadership role and ensure that our culture continues to thrive and that we're well represented in all sectors of our society. And finally, to conclude, look, the strength of our Tamil community lies in our unity and our willingness to support one another. And we must continue to strengthen the bonds within our communities by participating in cultural, religious events, encouraging youth to take on those leadership roles I talked about, and fostering an environment where cultural exchange and understanding are promoted. And as we navigate the challenges of being part of a Tamil diaspora, we must remain deeply connected to our roots while also embracing the opportunities that come our way. And by doing so, I think we ensure that our Tamil heritage thrives, not only here in Australia, but globally. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. I look forward to seeing how everyone else speaks. It was interesting to hear those who've already spoken. And I think we have a Q&A after this. So if you have any questions about Australia or about the organisation I work for, Vanni Hope, please feel free to ask.
Before the participants ask, I have a question for you, Valluvan,
Please.
regarding Vanni Hope itself. I know you're operating from a very different country and you're contributing to a different country. So if people across the globe also wants to participate like that for Tamil people, because I know you have been doing certain sustainable initiatives for that. Could we just briefly talk about that and how can they engage in these initiatives if they are willing?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, so like myself, I live in Australia. I'm working in an organisation in Sri Lanka. We've got people in Canada, got people in Singapore, UK, India, got them everywhere. So I think some great opportunities is we look at kind of what skills you have. So like, for example, if you're like a absolute wizard at Canva, you might be able to help us with our annual report and doing things like that. But the other one that we've recently been pushing for is, for example, if you're really good at speaking Tamil and English, we sponsor teachers in the northern province of Sri Lanka, a region called Jaffna, to learn English and to be able to teach English, because the big problem we're finding between the northern province and the rest of the island is that their lack of ability to speak English, and thus the lack of ability to interact with anyone outside of Sri Lanka. So it limits their business opportunities, career prospects, everything. So we've been pushing to train teachers to speak English and teach English in schools. So a big thing that we've been pushing is having a little like buddy. So on Zoom, you do it once a week for half an hour or twice a week, up to you. And you have a Zoom session with these teachers who are your buddies. You teach them, you speak to them in English, but you'll also be able to understand their Tamil and help them improve. So that's something I've been enjoying doing these last few weeks. We started the program recently. If you'd like to get involved, please reach out to me.
Sorry to interrupt. Yes, please proceed.
No, that's right. If you want to reach out to me, please don't hesitate.
Yes. Can I also know, like, for for Tamil teachers in the Sri Lanka, and if let's say people or students in abroad wants to learn Tamil and the culture of it, can a Zoom session be possible, the vice versa version?
Yes, it can. It would be ideal to have at least a limited understanding of Tamil just to get that initial contact going. Otherwise, there's two people not understanding each other. But yeah, if you're looking at wanting to improve your Tamil, like I am, my Tamil's not amazing, but it's okay. It's been great. So I really encourage it.
Okay.
I would like to congratulate Valluvan at this very young age that you're heading a very important project, because I have heard of Vanni Hope, and there's a lot of seniors have done a lot of work towards that organization to build to this level. So this is actually an kind of a really good testament how young Tamils can actually take leadership and take forward. So, well, it's the youth speakers, but anyone can actually listen and join in. So don't just get scared and run away saying there's a youth conference. Now anyone can join in.
ஆடியன்ஸ் பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ் எல்லாருக்குமே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பேனல்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய 4 ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸ்க்குமே நீங்க இப்ப கேள்வி கேட்கலாம். யாரெல்லாம் பேசினாங்க? தேவா ஃப்ரம் மலேசியா, வல்லுவன் ஃப்ரம் ஆஸ்திரேலியா, அஜீரா ஃப்ரம் பெலரூஸ். அது நம்ம ஸ்பெஷல் கெஸ்ட் இருக்காங்க, அவங்களையும் நீங்க இது கேட்கலாம், கேள்விகள் கேட்கலாம். And we also have UN.
UN, I think UN has to go back to
Okay, no problem.
So he's not in.
இந்த ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸ்ட ஆடியன்ஸ் உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது கேள்வி கேட்கணும்னா இது ஒரு Q&A செஷன். we have a short ஒரு 2 to 3 minutes Q&A செஷன். கேள்வி இருந்தா நம்ம கேட்கலாம். Janathan, yes please.
Hi, good morning everyone. Love all of the speakers and everything that you shared. It's just really impressive to see that we've got so many Tamil people across the globe with so many different experiences. And I know I've been asking questions in the chat as we've been going along. So the questions that were popping up for me was just following from what Valluvan was speaking, and it's just more of a reflection, I guess, because you're such a great role model to break that myth, the myth of the common narrative that we have in the Tamil community, right? Especially that I've heard from my parents, uncles, aunts, and everyone, that you need to only focus on your education. And we hear that. That's one of the reasons here, unfortunately, a lot of people drop out of Tamil school by the time it comes to GCSE, so like year 11 and stuff, because they're like, I need to focus on my education. But you're clearly doing so much at such a young age as well. So part one of my question there is, what would you say to those parents, or, you know, what are some of your, how would you rebut, I guess, that common narrative, and what would be like practical guidances on how we can start breaking that myth? That's one of them. And the other question that, or the other thing that really came through when you were sharing your experiences of that, it sounds like your parents and their upbringing has had a huge influence on how the Tamil identity has been such a strong founding for you with everything that you're doing, right? So I'm sure you might have friends who may not have had the same emphasis placed on the Tamil identity. And in that sense, for people who find themselves in that boat, how would you approach sharing the importance of, you know, connecting to our roots, connecting to the identity, especially as the diaspora, when we may not have the same connection that we have to going back to Sri Lanka and so on. And for a lot of people, their futures are going to be in the countries that we're currently in. How would you emphasize the importance of knowing the identity culture, and once again, the practical steps of how to make that accessible? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. So the first part about, you know, doing all much and the focus on education. So for me, I went to a very fancy private school. It's called the King's School in Australia. And for us, we had to do sports three times a week, training, games on Saturday, full Saturday. We had debating on Friday night. So I came home every day at 8 p.m. So I was always very busy and I didn't get the chance to always study. But the thing that I found, and I think my parents also saw in me, was because I was busy, I studied better because I didn't have as much time to muck about. And even now I do the same thing because, you know, there's only so much you can study. Your mind will let you, and the other time you tend to, I reckon, just waste time. You know, you start watching a Netflix show, you start going out too much. So I found that the more busy I kept myself, the more I was able to use the time that I had to study and study well because I had to get it done. So that would be what I'd say to parents who focus a lot on education. I was very grateful that my parents allowed me to do a lot of things. So yeah, definitely found that I studied a lot better. In terms of, you know, interacting with people who didn't have such a focus on Tamil culture growing up, who grew up in these diaspora countries, I found that, well, at least in Australia, we have a lot of these young Tamil associations and events. Like we have Tamil club nights, we've got Tamil dance shows, everything. So just bringing them along to them and meeting other Tamil people, I've always found that they've found something that they kind of also experienced, like a very common experience. Like maybe they saw something that thought only their parents do, but realized it's a common thing across all Tamil parents and all Tamil kids. So yeah, I found that to be very useful to them. Was there anything else I missed? Sorry.
No, not really. I think you've just answered all of those things really well. I think like a specific example I was thinking about is, like, you know, I've got a brother who's 17 and I'm just struggling to try and get him connected to the Tamil culture and the identity. And so everywhere I go, that's always my question, my filter. So, you know, I don't think I can take him to Tamil clubbing events at this moment yet, but as a way to introduce. But I know he's got a circle of Tamil friends. I was just thinking, you know, and he's got more of that affinity there as well. But I guess it's the community spirit, isn't it? Like when you were sharing this, that aspect of the community spirit was really coming through. When, you know, Devashama Anna was also speaking, the willingness to do something for the community. I think it's like, if we could just package that into a pill, that's what I'd love to know. Like it seems like when everyone here has been sharing, wanting to contribute towards the community, it's like this intrinsic factor. But is that a skill that we can learn? Is that something that we can actually encourage other people to do? So I'll be curious to hear, yeah, I guess thoughts on that.
Actually, I've got the exact same situation. My brother's 17. He's also not probably as connected as me. So what I do is I bring him to like the Pongal events like we talked about and all these Tamil festivals. And he has his group of mates that he brings along too. And he just gets more involved, learns more, and I think appreciates our culture more. That'd be what I do, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Appreciate that.
Janathan. Thank you, Valluvan. Do we have any other questions here? Yeah, Navaratnam, please.
No, no,
Please.
no, no. I'm calling from London. I just want to ask you one question. People say, I can understand Tamil, but I can't speak. So I can say my dog can understand. It can't speak. So you should be able to speak in Tamil, at least few words. நீங்கள் தமிழ்லேயே பேசுறதுனா தான் நல்லது. இந்த சின்ன பிள்ளைகள் தமிழில் பேசிக்க, இங்கே பிறந்த பிள்ளைகள் தமிழில் பேசிக்க கேட்க நல்ல ஆசையாக இருக்க வேண்டும் தமிழுக்கு. அப்போ நாங்கள் கதைக்கிறது விளங்கும், ஆனால் கதைக்கலான்னு சொன்னால் அதான் then there is no difference between my pet and the people. So I think I would like you to நீங்கள் தமிழில் கொஞ்சமாவது பேசினா எங்களுக்கு கேட்க சந்தோஷமாக இருக்கும். அப்போ பேசுகிறது தான் கூட இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் விளங்குறதை விட. ஏன்னா ஆக்களோட கதைக்கலாம், அது போன ஆக்களோட. அப்போ பேச வடிவாக தெரியணும். இப்போ இங்கிலாண்டில் இருந்தாலும் இங்கிலீஷ் எழுத தெரியாட்டியும் பேச தெரிஞ்சால் கொண்டு போடலாம் உண்டு. ஆனால் எழுத தெரிஞ்சால் மட்டும் காணாத. தயவு செய்து கொஞ்சம் தமிழ்லையும் கொஞ்சம் நேரம் பேசுங்க. நீங்கள் அது முழுக்க ஆங்கிலத்தில் பேசாமல். நன்றி.
நல்லா சொன்னீங்க ஐயா. இது அதுக்காகவே நாங்க இது இந்த கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் கூட மாநாடு வந்து நாங்க ஆர்கனைஸ் பண்றோம் டு என்கரேஜ் பீப்புள். இது ஒரு ஆரம்பம், இது ஒரு ஆரம்பமா இருக்கட்டும். இதுல இருந்து பாக்குறவங்களுக்கு அது ஓகே, இது நான் கேட்கறதுக்கு நல்லாதானே இருக்கு. அவுட் ஆஃப் மை ஓன் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ், நான் சில நாடெல்லாம் டிராவல் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அது எந்த நாட்டு மொழி நம்ம கேட்டாலுமே அது தமிழ் மொழியை கேட்கும் போது சீரியஸா வந்து அது எப்படி இனிமையா இருக்கும். நீங்க எங்க போய் அதை எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ணாலுமே அந்த டிஃபரன்ஸ் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். அவ்வளோ இனிமை வாய்ந்த தமிழ் மொழி இருக்கு. அதை பேசவும் படிக்க ஓரளவுக்கு தெரிஞ்சா கூட அது பெருமைதான். அடுத்தபடியாக வாமன் இருக்காங்க. எஸ் வாமன், உங்க கேள்வி
கேக்குதா நான் பேசுறது?
கேக்குது.
இது இந்த கனெக்டடா இருந்தபடியே நான் ஒரு பாயிண்ட் சொல்லிட்டு உங்களோட நேரத்தை எடுக்காம விடு கொண்டு பார்த்தேன். அந்த தமிழ்ல பேசுறத வந்து இங்க டயஸ்போரா, நாங்க சவுத் வேல்ஸ்ல இருக்கிறோம், யூகேல. நான் ஒரு தமிழ் கம்யூனிட்டி ஸ்கூல்ல இப்ப வந்து பார்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்து கூட பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன். எங்கட பிள்ளைகள் வந்து தமிழ்ல கிவ் அப் பண்றாங்க தங்களுக்குள்ள கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ற நேரம். அதுல உள்ள கவலை என்னன்னு சொன்னால், ரிச்சான வேல்யூஸ் கூடின இந்த உலகத்துல நீண்ட வரலாற்றுல வச்சிருக்கிற தமிழ் பொக்கிஷங்கள் வந்து தமிழ்ல இருக்குது. அதை நீங்க இங்கிலீஷ் ஆக்கி மாத்தினதுக்கு பிறகு நீங்க தமிழ்ல இருந்து அழிஞ்சு போங்கோ, ஆனா அதை கொண்டு வர்றதுக்கு ஒர்க் பண்ணுங்கன்னு கேட்க வரோம். நான் சொல்றது புரியுதா? தமிழ்ல பேசுறதுக்கூடாகவும் தமிழ்ல வளர்க்கறதுக்கூடாகவும் உங்களோட ஜெனரேஷன்ஸுக்கு, நீங்க உங்களுக்கு பின்னால வர்ற ஃபியூச்சர் ஜெனரேஷன்ஸுக்கு தமிழை கீப் பண்றது கூடாக இந்த வேல்யூஸ் கூடதாக தமிழ்ல இருக்குது. இந்த உலகத்துக்கு சமாதானத்தையும் நல்ல வாழ்க்கையை கொண்டு வர்ற நிறைய ரிச்சான விஷயம் வந்து தமிழ் லிட்ரேச்சர்ல இருக்குது. அதை அவ்வளோத்தையும் இங்கிலீஷுக்கு கொண்டு வந்ததுக்கு பிறகு நீங்க தமிழ்ல கைவிடுங்கோ. அதான் நான் கேட்க வரேன்.
நிச்சயமா இந்த இடத்துல ஒரு விஷயத்த கூறணும். தமிழ் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் ஃபார் லீடர்ஷிப் எக்ஸலன்ட் முக்கியமான நோக்கமே அதுதான். நாங்க வந்து தொடர்ச்சியாக தமிழ் வரலாறு, தமிழ் மரபு சார்ந்து கட்டமைக்கப்பட்ட, அதாவது ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்டான ஒர்க் ஷாப்ஸ் நடத்திட்டு வரோம். அதாவது 6 weeks ஒர்க் ஷாப். அதாவது தவிர்க்க முடியாத காரணங்களால இது உலகத்துக்கு தெரியுது இல்லை. நாங்கள் எவ்வளவுதான் மார்க்கெட் பண்ணாலும், ஏன்னா அந்த வரக்கூடிய பிள்ளைகள் அதிகமா யூனிவர்சிட்டி ஏஜ்ல இருக்கிற பிள்ளைகள். இப்ப 2 விஷயம் இருக்கு. ஒன்று தமிழை முதல் படிக்கிறதா, இல்ல தமிழோட பெருமையா அறிகிறதா. இப்ப நாங்க செய்யறது என்னன்னு சொன்னா, தமிழோட பெருமையும் தமிழ்ல இருக்கிற விஷயம், இப்ப நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி வாமன் வெரி வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்லி அதுல இருக்கிற விஷயங்களை முதல் ஏன் முக்கியம் உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும். அதுக்கு அந்த இன்ஸ்பிரேஷனுக்கு தமிழ் ஹிஸ்டரி ஹெரிட்டேஜ்னு சொல்லி யூனிவர்சிட்டி ஏஜ்ல இருந்து ஒரு 30 வயசு வரக்கூடிய ஆட்களுக்கு தொடர்ச்சியாக கிட்டத்தட்ட 400 பேருக்கு நாங்க ட்ரெயின் பண்ணியிருக்கிறோம். ஏன் இந்த இடத்துல சொல்றேன்னு சொன்னா இட்ஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். அதை விட நாங்க தமிழ் வேல்யூஸ் சொல்லி சின்ன பிள்ளைகளுக்கு அந்த வேல்யூஸை கொண்டு போகக்கூடிய மாதிரியான புத்தகங்கள், இப்படியான விஷயங்கள் எல்லாம் செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறோம். எனிவே, நான் கான்ஃபரன்ஸுக்கு டைம் எடுக்கல. நீங்க கேட்ட கேள்விக்காக இதுல நான் சாரி மன்னிக்கணுன்றாகவே நான் குயிக்கா சொன்னதுக்கு. ஏன்னா that is very important for us. இந்த இடத்துல ஒரே ஒரு கொஸ்டின் நான் கேட்க விரும்புறேன் தேவ சர்மாட்ட. நாங்கள் மூவ் பண்ண டைம். அதாவது தமிழர்களுக்கு இடையே ஒற்றுமை என்பது மிக முக்கியமானது. எப்படி நாங்கள் ஒற்றுமையை கொண்டு வரது. ஏன்னா இப்ப இன்றைக்கும் வந்து கனடாங்கள்ல வந்து ஒரு பிளவுகள் பிரிவுகள் இருந்து கொண்டுதான் இருக்கு. நான் முக்கியமாக உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், நான் மலேசியால இருக்க நெடுக பார்க்கறது இந்திய தமிழருக்கும் சிலோன் தமிழரும் என்ற ஒரு சின்ன வேறுபாடு இருக்கு. வருங்காலங்கள்ல தமிழாக எப்படி ஒன்றிணையலாம், உலக படத்துல எங்க இருந்தாலும் அது மலேசியா கான்டெக்ட்லயும் உலகத்திலயும் வெரி சிம்பிளா சொல்லுங்க, சுருக்கமா சொல்லுங்க, என்ன டைம் இல்லை.
ஓகே, நீங்க சொன்னது முழுக்க உண்மைதான் ராஜ். இங்க வந்து இந்த சிலோன் தமிழுக்கும் இந்த இயல்பாக இந்த தமிழ்நாட்டு தமிழர்களுக்கும் உள்ள வேறுபாடுகள் வந்து அந்த சோசியல் கிளாஸ் இந்த விஷயத்தினால உருவானுச்சு. ஆனா இப்ப இருக்கிற காலகட்டத்துல வந்து அந்த சோசியல் கிளாஸஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து ஒரு 3வது ஜெனரேஷன்ல வந்து எல்லாமே கன்சாலிடேட் பண்ணி ஒரு எக்குலிபிரியம் ஸ்டேட்ல வந்துட்டாங்க ஏறக்குறைய. ஆனா அந்த அடிப்படை விஷயங்கள் வந்து இப்ப நிறைய பேர் பேசின ஒரு விஷயங்களை பார்த்தோம். இந்த தமிழ்ன்ற விஷயத்த வந்து ஒரு அனுபவ ரீதியில என்னைக்கு நம்ம கொண்டு போறோமோ அப்பதான் அந்த ஒற்றுமையோட விஷயத்த பத்தி நீங்க முழுமையா நீங்க பேச முடியும். அனுபவ ரீதியில கொண்டு போகாம தியோரட்டிக்கலா பேசி புத்தக வடிவிலையோ இல்ல அந்த ஸ்கிரிப்சர்ஸ் வகையிலையோ இல்ல ஹிஸ்டோரியை பத்தி பேசுனீங்கன்னா அது உணர முடியாது. அவங்க இன்வால்வ் பண்ணணும். லைக் கம்யூனிட்டி ஒர்க் கேன் யூ டீச் மை புக் முடியாதுல்ல. அதே மாதிரிதான் தமிழ்ன்ற அந்த விஷயத்த வந்து நீங்க அனுபவ ரீதியில அண்ட் அந்த கலாச்சாரம் இன்ஃபேக்ட் இந்த கரண்ட் யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ் பிரசென்ட் பண்ணதெல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த ஆக்டிவிட்டி வகையில போனதுனால மட்டும்தான் அந்த அடையாளத்தை அவங்க உருவாக்க முடிஞ்சது. ஸோ இதுதான் நம்மளுடைய ஸ்ட்ரென்த். இதை ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணாலே தாராளமா நம்மளுடைய இலக்கை அடைஞ்சிடலாம்.
இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பேனல்ல நீங்க 2 பேரும் கூறினதுல இந்த ஒரு விஷயம் இருக்குது மிக தெளிவாக. பேரண்ட்ஸ் உங்களோட பிள்ளைகளை ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸுக்கு என்கரேஜ் பண்ணுங்க. Get active rather than just merely study or merely read. அதாவது அது I think this very much instrumental. Yeah, give it back to Raghavi.